I've been in the market for a new keyboard for a while now, which makes it all the more convenient that MelGeek offered to let me try out their new Mojo68 mechanical keyboard. I've never heard of MelGeek though, and my initial looks at their reviews showed, oh, yikes. So admittedly, I didn't come into this review with the highest expectations. The Mojo68 is priced similarly to other mechanical keyboards, but does it live up to the same quality found in other enthusiast brands like Drop? Let's find out. The box the Mojo68 came in isn't the final retail packaging, so there isn't much to cover in the unboxing experience. My keyboard came pre-assembled, and yours should too, should you order one. MelGeek has several key switch options to choose from, more on that in a bit. The keyboard they sent me is their Monster variant, and I actually really like it. The colors all go well together, and the little kaiju accent is fun. We'll do a typing test in a second and talk about the layout more in a bit. MelGeek is really promoting the clear plastic construction of the Mojo68. When I first read this, the first thing I thought was that it would feel really cheap. Well, I'm happy to report it doesn't. It's still plastic, so temper your expectations, but it's surprisingly sturdy. There's obviously some flex, but it's more than tolerable. It looks pretty good in the kind of turquoise blue, and I'd expect equally good results from the other variants. However, there isn't really much to it beyond that. Yeah, it's clear, but aside from one little Easter egg, there isn't much to gawk at. You can kind of see the switches, but you can't really see the internals beyond that. Unless you have RGB going, it isn't really that unique of a feature. Still though, I'm a sucker for things like this, and it reminds me of my Game Boy Color days. It is a dust magnet though, so I'd recommend wiping it down at least every couple of days. Okay, so that's the first impression. Let's talk about the keyboard itself. The Mojo68 comes with a USB-C cable for a wired connection, but it also comes with a dongle for 2.4 GHz wireless and Bluetooth 5.1. That means you can connect the Mojo68 to several devices at once and easily switch between them with the switch on the back. Bluetooth supports up to 4 devices, and you can easily switch between them using keyboard shortcuts. You can also program the keys and individually assign RGB to them using the KB Tools app. The wired connection also supports QMK, a standard protocol for mechanical keyboard customization. The Mojo68 is a 60% layout board, so it has 68 keys, hence the name. In my view, this is an ideal size for most people. Unless you're using Excel a lot or just a math nerd, there isn't really a need for a number pad. I can see a lot of people missing the function row of keys, but honestly I barely ever use it, so it doesn't really bother me. But I'm a writer by trade, so what matters to me the most is the typing experience. I would say for me this has been mostly positive, and the few negatives I have could easily be fixed when you are customizing the Mojo68 for yourself. For one, the keycaps are just a bit too tall for me, and I keep accidentally hitting keys while traveling to the one I intend to hit. MelGeek has 3 different profiles for the Mojo68, so just make sure you get the size that is right for you. This is a bit of a nitpick, but the bottom right corner of the keyboard is a pain point for me. I do find myself consistently hitting the left arrow key or control instead of the shift bar when I'm typing. That's because there is no practical space between these. Part of this is because of the BT button that I haven't figured out how to use. Oh, that's why. Well, it doesn't change the fact that I hit the wrong key. This is probably compounded by the size of the keycaps for me. Okay, so that's the layout and my personal typing experience. So now let's move on to the final aspect of this keyboard. Pulling off the keycap, you'll see we have what the heck is that? Oh, it's a TC switch. I've never used one of these, but I don't have any complaints. It's a linear switch though, and that isn't my cup of tea. I type pretty quickly, so I like having tactile feedback to know when I've actuated the key. Luckily the board is hot-swappable, so I've ordered some new tactile switches to trade out. I'll cover that in a later video. For now, here's a typing test. You'll notice that the typing sound is pretty quiet for a mechanical keyboard. That's partly because it's linear, so there's no real clicking. Most of the noise comes from the keycap itself. The Mojo68 is also gasket mounted, which makes it more stable and dampens the noise. This makes the Mojo68 suitable for basically any environment, so if you want a fancy keyboard for the office, go for it. The monster version of the Mojo68 costs $200 on the Kickstarter, which is pretty pricey for a keyboard of this layout. However, that price is because of the custom keycaps and the knowledge that you helped a small company. If you get the switches and the keycap sizes you want, this is actually a solid enthusiast board. I can't say for sure if it's on par with the product quality of a manufacturer like Drop, but I do think it's an enjoyable keyboard that will last you for a long time to come. Check out their Kickstarter to see more on Mojo68, and make sure you hit subscribe for more videos. I'll be replacing the keys in this soon, and I'm putting an SSD in my PS4 to try and improve the load times. I also have a lot of projector reviews, so there'll be plenty to come.